Hi, Leo Dreger here. Let's talk a little bit about file systems and hard drives. Right? So, some basic types of file systems and hard drives. Right? We have the classic disk type file system, which is the things that we put in our computers. Everybody kind of knows that one, pretty self-explanatory. They have basically two types, internal and external, but there are other types as well. You have networking file systems, you have database file systems, and countless others that we're going to get into and talk about. Basically, what you need to do is compare a bunch of information about the different types of hard drives. Okay, this is what I call the Rain Man quality. It never ceases to amaze me that somebody always wants to talk to me about hard drives, and they just start throwing out brand names and specifications and expect that I know what they're talking about. And well, to some degree I do, or many degrees I don't. Okay, because there are different factors. There's speed, there's transfer time, there's capacity, and those are rather generic qualities that we look at when we start talking about hard drives and file systems. But then there's also very specifics like brand names and sale prices and things like that frankly are relevant in my world. We have the physical structure. You have track density and areal density. We're going to get into that and discuss how you actually calculate track density or what is exactly areal density. You have the logical structures, right? Everybody should know at a minimum FAT, NTFS, and the EXT type file systems. These absolutely are the most popular ones, but don't discount it. There are many others as well. You have FAT12, FAT16, FAT32. You have NTFS and different versions of NTFS. You have, in the Linux world, very, very popular file systems, the EXT file systems, EXT2, 3, 4, etc. And a variety of others. You have EXF, JFS, Reezer, and countless others. Don't forget, we could even go into the CD versus DVD versus Blu-ray. We could even look at RAID levels and tie in fault tolerance into these conversations. So while the details are vast and verbose, I always try to boil things down to the absolute basics. Some of those are going to be just simply the partitions on these different types of file systems. We typically have primary partitions, which contain all of our boot files, and then we have extended partitions, which are really designed for additional data. We're going to take a close look at master boot record and look at that from a hands-on point of view. And I want to show you how to duplicate a master boot record from one hard drive to the other one if one gets corrupt and things like that. And I'll show you how you can use the unforgiving DD command. I say it's unforgiving because realistically, that command will do anything that you tell it to do without asking you for your permission. So if you tell it to do the wrong thing, it will unforgivingly do it. So you need to pay close attention to all of the possible combinations of how to manipulate the DD command. Next, we can go into the file systems and all of the factors there, like the number of tracks or the track density, or how to do sector sizes, or how do you look at the addressing or the file structures, or even how to do a disk capacity calculation. Right? While we have computers that'll tell us how to do that for us, it's a good idea to still know how to do that manually as well. Then we can look at all of the interfaces, right? It's one thing to know about the physical structure and the logical structure of the drives, but how are you actually going to connect to them? Is it going to be a SCSI drive or an IDE or the rather outdated EIDE or USB or ATA, SATA or PATA style drives? Or is it a fiber channel, which those are much, much more popular in the data center, where things like SATA are much more popular nowadays in the home market. Okay, and then we'll follow up and we'll end with the different types of boot processes on like the Windows system and the Linux file system, right? And what files are needed and when to use what files and everything you need to know about the different types of files used in the common boot process. Because it's one thing to have a master boot record, it's another thing to actually know what that master boot record's doing, what files is it referencing, manipulating, changing, what are the order of those files based on the different types of operating systems and architecture. So this is a very, very verbose and detailed section. So let's take a closer look with a little bit more hands-on approach.